Plus, it's the end
Yeah,
of the
you're
school
on
year.
data.
I mean, everyone's pretty much done, right? Get these seniors over the line. Put it back to the woods. That's right.
Are we ready?
We are.
Almost.
We are live, folks.
Okay. Operations report.
Okay, a few highlights. I don't know if you've noticed, but this spring, the outside crew started working on the ball fields. Modified baseball field is in pretty rough shape. So we went out and spent about $15,000 on good baseball dirt, spray, mixture, whatever they say is what we need. So they've been spending most of the spring doing games and all that, trying to level the fields. And we're seeing this as kind of like a 3-year process by getting it where it needs to be. We'll do something probably again this fall. Ideally, this fall is when we should be working on the baseball field at springtime. But it is what it is for this year. Doing a nice job as well. So you can see, you notice coming in here, and if you notice the little walkway, they're starting to spruce up the lovely building here. The concrete wall with the barriers are, they're starting to fill that in with cement. We had a contractor here today looking at, we're going to replace the railings as you walk into the gym as they're really falling apart. That is, the hope is to have that replaced before the school year starts. The railings going down as well as the fencing that goes along the concrete wall. 2 trees out front. I don't know if you noticed, were taken down last week. There's 2 pine trees that were at the top of the steps that looked pretty raggy. So those came down. We got the stumps out, and we're working with the beautification group. Put some flowers up there, big pots and all that. That way, it's all set to go, and it looks beautiful graduation. So, take a look around as you see. I mean, in terms of the properties and all that, things are sprucing up. He was doing a great job of anticipating what needs to get done, and then the crew is doing the work. So that's what the goal is, to tackle all of these things a little at a time, and focus on not having a huge major project down the road. When the funds are available, they'll keep tackling the minor repairs. That's what I have for this one.
Any questions for Dana? I'm not sure if this is operations necessarily. So at the track, we have the steeplechase pit, but we don't have the barriers necessary to do the event. We only have boys' height. We don't have boys and girls' height, so ours aren't adjustable.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we have the expensive thing, which is the pit that you cover,
Right,
you know, and,
yep.
and uncover and you can jump through. But we don't have the correct barriers, so at some point that would be good too, because we can't host that event. So that prevents us from hosting certain.
Like we want to do
tournaments.
qualifiers,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
offer steeplechase as one of those.
Correct.
events.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's something. So the
It's,
operations.
it's athletics, but it would be operations.
So we have like barriers that just sit around, and most people just use them for co-recs. And
Because that's interesting that how many years ago when they purchased them, they didn't.
Yeah.
Those adjustable ones.
yeah, and that's what I've seen in other track and
Right.
field. It's just. You just move up and
So
down.
like it looked like theirs was adjustable.
Yes, there's
Like
where
the
it does.
seasonal distance
Yeah.
last week.
So an expense, but if we have the pit,
Sure.
that's what we use it.
Absolutely.
Plus, it's the most fun to watch. Because all the water just absolutely heated. So it's great fun. So I recommend it.
Look at it. Absolutely.
All right. NISBA AI conference report. Colleen.
I'll keep it brief and short and not allowing any comments or praise afterwards. So.
Did you have ChatGPT write this report for you?
No. Anyway, I'm going to keep it brief. So I had the opportunity to attend a virtual artificial intelligence conference. Really briefly, most of you already know this. We already use it with music playlist, security cameras around your home, like Ring, email and spam, fitness trackers. Those are all examples of artificial intelligence, how they track you. I'm only highlighting things. Ethical concerns, AI is only as good as the information that's being put into the system that you're retracting from it. Another key point, if we don't teach the students, who's going to? They did bring up, which I thought was interesting, the opportunity gap is going to widen if we don't implement things eventually to allow all students to have equal access, that opportunity gap could eventually widen even further. It talked about districts, the importance of professional development as we move in the direction of adding AI into our districts. 95%, excuse me, of districts right now across the state of New York do not have any policies for artificial intelligence. So that's going to be something that as we move into using AI for schools, that the policy committee will have to look at that. And then lastly, they did a survey of all students that are currently using AI. 69% use it for research, 39% for math, and 20% currently for essays, which is interesting because I think a lot of the worry was in the area of English language arts, that there was going to be a lot of dishonesty or whatever in that area. But currently it's only showing that 20% are using it for actual essays. It was an interesting conference. There's other ones that are coming up, but that's kind
Those
of it.
numbers are at the high school
Yeah,
level.
at the high school level.
So it's a bigger problem in colleges.
It's like plagiarism is an issue, but it's a really neat tool to use for people that haven't played around with OpenAI or ChatGPT. It's a really neat concept, but again, it's only as good as what the information being put into the bubble is. So that's it. Thanks.
And don't ask Google AI how to make your pizza
Yeah.
cheesier.
Yeah,
Just gotta
put
include.
the house down.
So, you
Anyway,
see
thank
that?
you.
That was Google's
You could also.
AI suggestion. Yeah, you can absolutely add glue to your cheese. Make it cleaner.
Yeah, it is.
All right, thank you very much, Kelly. No questions.
No questions. Moving on.
Moving on to superintendent's report.
So my report is attached. There is a litany of praise that is in regard to all of our spring teams. So just some of those highlights in addition to the ones that you can read at your leisure. Our varsity baseball team was the MVAC champion again. This is the second year in a row. They had 25 wins in the league, and they competed very well against some of the larger schools in the CVAC. Our varsity softball program under Coach Hayes had a great year. They received the sportsmanship award for all of the MVAC, so we're pleased with that. Our modified baseball team made it through the season with just one loss. And early in the season, we had a perfect game thrown by Chase Fleet, so quite an accomplishment. Our modified softball numbers are through the roof, so much so that we had a gold and a blue split team to allow for more sustained playing time. So all of our baseball and softball teams, the future is bright with regards to the talent and participation on those squads, which is great. Our boys lacrosse team upended some serious contenders in the region during semifinal and final play. They defeated Salmon River at one point, which is they're from that area. That's their thing. So that was a colossal win on the part of the lacrosse team. So they're continuing to be successful. Girls lacrosse also had a 10-win season, so congratulate them. Tennis had a 5-3 record. That's a combined team with Lake Placid. So 3 players did qualify for states. They actually, ironically, were all from Saranac Lake in this instance, but nonetheless, they repped the brand of LP and were good amongst the team. Our track and field team had new leadership under Coach Delaney and Coach Doviak.
Actually, it was Coach
Coach Delaney's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coach is Delaney.
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. And they had continued the momentum. That's always been one of our stronger programs, thanks to the hard work of previous coaches. Aiden Fay is on his way to states after a very successful run of the 2-mile run at sectionals, I believe. Am I following that correctly?
Right, state qualifiers.
State qualifiers, yeah. Our modified track and field team, one of the highlights, our 4x100 girls squad never lost a race. So we've got some good sprinters on the modified track squad. Carver Bell qualified for states again. This is, I believe, the second year in a row for him, which is great. And flag football, it was our inaugural season, and we had some good competition, and we had a victory. Our first was against NAC, who subsequently defeated us later. So lots of good stuff in the realm of spring sports. Music and the arts generally, we had our K-2 concert on May 22nd, following the adoption of the budget vote here, which was great. We had our district band festival for students in grades 3 through 12 on May 30th in the middle high school gym. There were special awards given to the band students for leadership and musicianship, including Grace Corliss for middle school band, Harley Cohen for jazz band, and Nathan Cash for high school band. So congrats to those students, to Mrs. Briggs in her last instrumental concert, and her last chorus concert will be later this week. And also congrats to Olivia Montagno, who has been filling in for the year, for Miss Kakufa, who's on maternity leave. And Miss Montagno has done a fantastic job with the students, so we appreciate her. As stated, the chorus festival will take place tomorrow at 6:30 in the middle high school auditorium. The art shows have been and continue to be in full swing. The day of the budget vote at the elementary school, the elementary art showcase happened. One of the cool things that Mrs. Bilion does is she staggers all of the student artwork, 2 pieces per student at the elementary school across the building. It doesn't tell the students where they're located. So it was a full-on art walk because all of the parents had to see to find their scavenger hunt type situation. So that was great. And when you think about that, it's over 500 pieces of art that Mrs. Bilion is personally matting and hanging and labeling. It's a ton of work. So Rebecca is just a fantastic and dedicated educator. We're very fortunate. At the middle high school, our art show is continuing into its second week. It's located in the foyer and in the hallway. This is in conjunction with the chorus concerts. This is, I think, the 3rd year that we've partnered these things together. So we do an art and music showcase. Thank you to Mr. Robinson and Mrs. Huber, and all the students for their great work. And another example of some cool art showcasing and competitions. Mr. Robinson's studio art and Ms. Huber's 7th grade art classes participated in an Olympic competition in commemoration of the 2024 Paris Olympics and the 100th anniversary of the 1924 Olympics in Paris as well. Those classes participated in Zoom calls with Olympians, past and present, and they each created a piece of art that was in honor of those particular Olympians and was supposed to signify the values of the Olympics: courage, determination, inspiration, etc. Today, there was an award ceremony at the Olympic Center in which Ella Wilson, Stella Hoffman, and Sophie Kniff all received silver medals for this art competition around the globe with over 300 students from Lake Placid, Colorado, Paris, Rome, Slovenia, you name it. So great art experience, great infusion of culture, and great touch of the legacy of the Olympics here in the Olympic region for those students. We are coming up on end of year celebrations. 8th grade celebration will take place June 14th. We have our, of course, commencement on the Oval, weather permitting, which very much hope it will be. And that will be on the 21st. I don't know what it says. It should, yeah, on the bottom there, excuse me. The next one is the 21st at 6. Marcy Doyle is the commencement speaker chosen by the class. And we'll hear also speeches from Harley Cohen, valedictorian, and Jesse Marshall salute. And then just a final note, this has been an ongoing topic of interest for the board, I know. Earlier in the last week, on Thursday, Governor Hochul came forward and lodged her intent to ban smartphones from schools in New York State in 2025. That will, of course, require legislative action, but given the growing body of evidence related to the concerns of smartphones and social media on the teenage anxiety epidemic. That appears to be something that is gaining traction in anticipation. One thing I wanted to just note is Governor Hochul mentioned that in her eyes, allowing flip phones for high school students could be a way to bridge the gap between parents who may want to have the ability to communicate with their kids as needed without the social media and computer-based programs that are out there.
Get a work phone and a home phone, apparently. Maybe a couple of DeLoreans, go back and get some flip phones. But
It's an evolving topic for sure. But it sounds like we're on the right track. So that is my report.
Thank you.
And I think, well, you noted it in the report, but AFA also set a new school record.
Oh, yes.
And it was cool because Andrew Scanio set that record last year. And he was there at state qualifiers and got to see it happen and got to celebrate with the team. So that was wonderful. Good momentum from that program. All right. Any questions for Tim? Thank you, Tim. Moving on for information for the board, you'll see some information about AP Environmental Science presentations and also the capstone projects. And then there's also information there, executive content and conversations already. Right? All good. 6A was in consent. Brings us to personnel matters. On the recommendation of the superintendent, approve the following personnel consent agenda: 7B/CD, teaching staff tenure recommendations; 7E, teaching assistant tenure recommendations; 7F, reappointment of community schools coordinator; 7G, teaching assistant maternity leave; 7H, teaching staff appointment; 7I, appointment of election inspectors and workers for the special election on June 24th. Do I have a motion?
make a motion.
Thank you, Ryan. John will second. All those in favor?
All right.
Sorry.
And I do have a summation of that information just for the public. So congrats to Alexa Angelopoulos Bowler, Casey Kyler, Taylor Prosper, and Nicole Trainer, all receiving tenure this year. Thank you for your support in the district. Many thanks to Mr. Clark for staying on another year as our community schools coordinator. And congratulations to Peyton Barney for her upcoming maternity leave. And welcome to Joseph Graney, who is our new industrial technology teacher starting in September. Great.
All right. 8A, B, C, and D were all in consent. Brings us to 8E, donation acceptance recommended action. Whereas the Lake Placid School District's Board of Education policy 6255, donations, gifts, and grants in the district allows for the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations having a value of less than $200. Whereas monies that have been received in the total amount of $41,100 from the Adirondack Foundation for the purpose of funding the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. in the spring of 2024. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, Board of Education hereby accepts the checks from the Adirondack Foundation of $41,000 for the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. in the spring of 2024. Motion.
Yes.
Thank you, Colleen. Do I have a second? We'll give it to Doug there. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much for the continued generosity of this program. Yes. So we thank them for their continued generosity, offering this amazing opportunity for our students. All right, that brings us to our next for the cause. Do we have any communications?
No letters.
Okay. Linking goals with agenda items.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you have any others, get those to Karen. Next meeting date and location. June 18th, 6 p.m. Same bat channel, same bat time.
And just another note on the additional meeting on the 25th just to adopt the results of the vote related to the proposition.
Yes, and please make sure that you tell everyone to get out to vote June 24th, so that we have a good turnout. I think that would be great to show support for the food pantry. And also, those of you who will continue serving, you have until July 15th to make your excuses as to why you don't want to be president. So, you'll all need.
Is that likely posted? Something like that, following?
The results of the election?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I don't think that much turnout, but I think it's important that everybody knows
Yes.
what the results were, whether it's two, 3, or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sydney, when you watch this, please remember the vote is the 24th and to contact me so we can have that published post-haste.
There we go. Excellent. Okay. Any old agenda topics? Any new agenda topics? All right. Recommend action, motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:51 PM. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ryan. Second. Thank you, Colleen. All those in favor? Aye.